Hey everybody, this is Boomersdaddy with Spreadsheet Sports. I'm coming to you with our GPP picks of the week 2 of the NFL season. Obviously, cash game picks are all in play. I think they're in good spots. They've got a high floor, and some of their ceilings are capped, but some of them have a really high ceiling as well. So you want to make sure that you do have a nice mixture of both cash and of safer guys and riskier guys in your GPPs, because you can't just have a bunch of GPP high ceiling, high floor guy, or low ceiling, high floor guy, high ceiling, low floor guys in your GPP lineups, because it's very, 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 very rare that all of you know, um, your high ceiling guys are going to go off on the same night if they're not really, really, really consistent. So make sure you have a good mix of them. This is a nice, good pool of players. This is the same pool of players that I will be using for week 2 of the NFL season on all sites. And hopefully that this pool of players will win us a lot of money this week. And if you are playing in the Millionaire Maker over there on DraftKings or the Sunday Million on FanDuel, then good luck to you, and hopefully you are the one that takes it down if I'm not the one that takes it down. So it's going to be a fun week again, and I think we're going to have a few more surprises in store for us this week. So going to go through a couple different things. Obviously, I'm not going to touch on a lot of the picks that are in my article, because you can see exactly why I do like them. This is going to be basically GPP only picks for me, and I'm going to run down through a couple in each position and tell you exactly why I think that they are in good spots. And then I'm going to get to building my lineups for tomorrow, and allow you to do the same. I know you're probably either checking this out Thursday night, or sorry, not Thursday, Saturday night or Sunday morning. So it's going to be short, quick, and to the point, so you can jot down some notes and apply what you like about what I say into your lineups and be good to go. So okay, the defense that I like for GPPs is the Ravens. Obviously, they're going up against the Oakland Raiders. I think they're in a good spot. They did just shut down Peyton Manning last week, and they can get to the quarterback. The bad part about it is Terrell Suggs is out with a torn Achilles, but I still think that CJ Mosley is going to clog up the middle there. And I believe that that secondary is vastly underrated. Don't be surprised if they have a couple turnovers, a couple forced fumbles, and some sacks. And if we get lucky enough, we might be able to get a defensive return for a touchdown in there. So I don't think that a lot is going to happen on special teams, but you never know with them. And hopefully we get surprised on that front. So, all right, going to quarterback here. Aaron Rodgers, I think he's going to be lower owned. I think he's a great tournament play, because for the first time in a couple years, Seattle is having to come to Lambeau Field. This defense, we saw them last week. Nick Foles actually threw for over 300 yards against them, and not in an Eagles offense. So I think this is a really, really, really sneaky play, because everybody's going to see Seattle defense and they're going to shy away from it. The big question in this game is going to be, how are they going to handle Richard Sherman? You saw last week, Sherman actually didn't just stick to one side of the field like last year. If you remember the game from last year, they set Jarrett Boykin out on Richard Sherman and said, "Here you go, you're the sacrificial lamb this week," and used him basically as a decoy, running routes, running all over the field, and attacked in other spots. I don't think that's going to happen this week. I think that the Seahawks are going to mix up some coverage, so don't be surprised if the top 3 receivers for the Green Bay Packers all end up seeing some time with Richard Sherman lined up against them. So as far as running back is concerned, my top running back option is expensive, but he's obviously going to be extremely low owned. I believe that's Adrian Peterson. This isn't a homer pick. I just think that in order to ease Teddy Bridgewater into the season and ease him into the game, they have to get Adrian Peterson the football. This is obviously going to be a better matchup this week than it was last week. Don't ask me why he was limited in touches, but he didn't look bad coming off of a year, but he didn't look like Adrian Peterson fully yet either. It's going to take him a little bit of time to get his bearings in, but I think by week 3, week 4, we could start to see the old AD back, and by that time his price is still going to be up there, but people are going to start playing on him or jumping on him and playing him more. So let's take advantage of the lower ownership and get a good matchup, and all we need is 125 yards and a couple TDs. And I know that says we need a lot, but at a low ownership, if we get that, then we've set ourselves up in really, really, really good position with that tournament team. So I'm actually going to fade Matt Forte because I think he's going to be extremely highly owned. I think if somebody's going to pay up for a running back, they're going to go more towards Forte rather than Peterson. Excuse me. And because of the workload that he got last week, it was outright. It was sick. I think he's a great play. If you want to put him in your cash games, I don't mind that at all either. But for GPPs, I am going to fade him along with a lot of other players that I've actually talked about throughout the week. So one more quarterback I want to get to before I go on is going to be obviously Matt Ryan and Julio Jones. That connection going up against the New York Giants defense is going to be extremely fun to watch again. We saw what they did against the Eagles last week, and I'm not scared of the Giants any more than I was the Eagles. So the only reason that I think that Dez didn't have as good of a game as he did was the corners aren't that bad, but the Falcons move Julio Jones around a lot more than the Cowboys do Dez Bryant. So obviously Dez got hurt or late in the third, early in the fourth, and that kind of hindered his production, but he was starting to be integrated into the game. So I think the Falcons are going to get creative, are going to have creative ways to get Julio Jones the ball, and obviously he is going to have a great game in my opinion. So well, there was a wide receiver, but I already talked about him. Let's go to wide receiver, though. I've got a list of about 10, and hopefully it doesn't come back to bite me. I had never had such a big player pool as I did last week, and it kind of showed up. My tournament teams, they didn't do as good as I wanted them to do across the board. You saw a couple of them. I've narrowed down my player pool this week. I'm not going nearly with the being amped up and as emotional as I was last week. And so hopefully by narrowing down this player pool, we can avoid a lot of the landmines that occur every single week. So the first one I like is Calvin Johnson. I think he's going to be under 10% owned. I think that coming off of a game where he basically received 4 targets, he only caught 2 of them, and Matt Stafford was looking other places other than Calvin Johnson. I think he's going to go low owned, and he could be a sneaky play. He's one of those that I never want to bet against because you could go poor betting against him. But with that said, the Chargers actually double teamed him most of the game. When he was working around the line of scrimmage, they were bracketing him, one over the top, one underneath. There wasn't a lot of zone covers that they were playing. So it really was what the Chargers did to take him out of the game more than Calvin not being Calvin. So if I can get Calvin under 10% in the Millie Maker tomorrow, I will take that every single week because more times than not, Calvin Johnson is going to, barring injury, Calvin Johnson is going to outperform his salary and pay it off 4 to 5 times, as long as he's not like $10,000. So the other one I like is purely it's optional right now, and it all is going to be based on whether or not Mike Evans plays. And this is going to sound kind of backwards, but I like Vincent Jackson a lot going against the Saints that are not a good defense. You can make a lot of money betting against a Rob Ryan coach defense. I think he's one of the most overrated defensive coordinators in the NFL. If you're a Rob Ryan fan, I'm sorry. That's one man's opinion, and his defenses typically allow a lot of fantasy points to not only quarterbacks and running backs, but also wide receivers as well. So the reason I say this is it's a wait and see is if Mike Evans is active, I love Vincent Jackson. He's a pivot off of Evans. He's going to be cheaper, and Evans is going to demand some of that coverage that Vincent Jackson was getting last week that allowed Austin Seferian-Jenkins to catch 2 touchdown passes. Usually when you only have one weapon at wide receiver, or one weapon in the passing game, or 2 in the passing game, they will take away your top weapon and allow the other guys to beat you. That's what Tennessee did last week. And Seferian-Jenkins still didn't beat him. A lot of that looked like Jameis Winston, but I think Jameis is going to be a little bit more calm this week. I think he's going to have a bounce back game. Do I think that he's going to be great? No. But is he going to be serviceable enough to where he can allow his wide receivers to have some fantasy value? Yes, I do. So if Mike Evans is activated tomorrow and if he's playing, I love Vincent Jackson. So one more value play at wide receiver is Eric Decker. I think that Eric Decker is going to be the beneficiary of not seeing any Vontae Davis. I think Vontae Davis is going to be on Brandon Marshall the whole game, and that allows Eric Decker to have a really, really good game. It's one of those situations where we see top corners go against top wide receivers, and as good of a wide receiver as Eric Decker is, Brandon Marshall can hurt you that much more. So I think that they're going to use Vontae Davis on Brandon Marshall, and that's going to allow Eric Decker to get free in the middle of the field and have a really, really good game. So tight end, I am obviously in love, just like the rest of America is, with Gronk. I think that Tom Brady makes for a good contrarian tournament play this week, just because we saw what the Buffalo Bills defense did to Andrew Luck last week. So I think everybody's going to be off of Tom Brady. I think that makes him a great play. If I'm pairing him up with anybody, I'm pairing him up with Gronk. Obviously, the correlation there is massive. The upside is tremendous. The floor is a little bit lower than it normally would be, but that's because of the Bills' defense. This is another Rex Ryan and Bill Belichick game, so you know that Rex is going to pull out all the stops, and I can promise you the Bills will cover Gronk. They will not let him run free like that was nuts. They won't let him run free. So temper your expectations for Gronk this week. 1 touchdown maybe instead of 3, instead of 2. I don't know. Gronk is Gronk, and he's the best. That's why he's priced. He's the highest priced tight end, and he's priced like a wide receiver over tight ends. So obviously, I've got 3 other catch game plays for tight ends. Those are really the only tight ends that I'm really taking a flyer or having multiple teams on, or having them on multiple teams. But if I had to choose another one, and you held a gun to my head, low owned, good spot, could catch a couple touchdown passes, it's going to be Gavin Escobar out of the off the Dallas Cowboys. With Des Bryant not being, and obviously with Des Bryant out, Jason Witten's going to garner a lot of attention. So is Terrence Williams. So is Cole Beasley. Lance Dunbar is going to get a lot of work out of the backfield as well. But we've seen it over the course of the last couple years. Gavin Escobar can catch touchdown passes, and Tony Romo does look for him in the red zone. So we saw it last week, and don't be surprised if we see it again. Am I expecting a huge game? No, but if I get him under 1% owned and he catches 30 yards and a touchdown, he gets me 10 points on some sites. He gets me 15 on others. I will take that all day long because I will bet that Austin Seferian-Jenkins, Rob Gronkowski, Jason Witten, Tyler Eifert, Eric Ebron, those tight ends that had breakout performances last week, they will all be extremely highly owned because people will chase points. We've talked about it all week. Don't chase the points. Look at the matchup, develop a game theory, and it will pay off for you. I'm not chasing any of the tight end touchdowns that occurred last week. I'm going back to my well. I'll go back to Gronk. I'll go back to Witten. I'm not expecting 2 touchdowns out of Witten, but he will get an uptick in targets, so it kind of mitigates that right there in the middle. So yeah, if you had to hold a gun to my head, under 1% owned, somebody I'd take a flyer on, it would be Gavin Escobar. So, guys, that's all I've really got for now. This should be loaded up here shortly if everything kind of goes right. And make sure if you have any questions or anything about anything that you are thinking of tomorrow morning while you're building lineups, be sure to ask. You can hit me up on Twitter at Boomersdaddy or at Sheet Sports. You can hit us up on the Google Plus page or the Facebook page. I will be running through all of that. And if you don't, then good luck to everybody tomorrow, and let us make some money. I will talk to you guys later.